where you're going and why you do them. But I think everything, has a reason as to why it happened, and I needed to probably get that out of my system to realize that Africa and South Africa specifically was where I was meant to be. And I was thinking about this the other day in terms of, it's amazing how, a door that opens might not be the door that, you were hoping would open, but it opens leading to another door and that to another. And eventually, without you knowing it, you do eventually get to where you want to be with enough persistence, passion, and motivation. I often talk about to people about my success is really boiled down to three key ingredients that I really live by, and one is obviously the passion which I have for the animals. But with that passion, you've got to have perseverance, and you've got to have a commitment factor to go with that. Otherwise, it can all be for naught. You can have the passion, but ultimately it'll fizzle out if you can't persevere and commit to it.
One of the things I notice about you and your work in the way you live is that you trust living in the mystery the way very few people are willing to. 'Cause what you're describing is living in trust as well and living in the mystery. You had to go to England only to find out that your destiny was calling you back to South Africa to meet Rodney Fur and to then unfold the rest of what you're here on Earth for, as well as to meet Mandy, correct?
Yeah, well, I mean, quite right. I mean, I don't, I'm always, my family always tell you, I'm always willing to give something a try, and I think that's most of the time where people will go, well, I know that's not what I want to do, so I'm not going to give it a try. But I'm always exactly that. I mean, in the mystery of knowing, well, if you don't give that a try, who knows what that might lead to? You might meet somebody who, like a Rodney Fur, who will open, that door for you. And even then, some people will meet a Rodney Fur and go, well, how is he going to help me achieve my dream of working with animals? Because they're so obsessed with the fact that they need to work with animals, they're not willing to look anywhere else or allow anywhere else to enter into their lives to help with that.
White Lion, the movie, when you and Rodney began that project, I don't think you had both imagined the amount of time it actually took to complete and deliver this film. Had you?
Sure, no. That's a definite, emphatic no. We had no idea what we were getting involved with, and it's just one of those things that just snowballed out of control very quickly, and before we knew it, multiple years had passed by us, and we were a lot worse for wear after it. Relationships with animals were worse for wear. Our relationship was worse for wear. The bank account was worse for wear. Everything was worse for wear. But I'll tell you something, it was character building. It was a hell of an experience. It was a learning curve. It was, at the end of the day, when we look back at it, we're both very proud of it. And in fact, we had just had really great news yesterday that it won the Audience Award at a kids festival in Frankfurt at the Lucas Film Festival.
That's awesome.
So, yeah,
awesome.
When you hear things like that, suddenly all the hard work and all of that seems worth it, and we're really excited because it's coming to the States on the 15th of October. We're doing a very small release. We're going to start to roll it out very gently and judge the response. But so far, all the feedback has been so positive. So although in 2005, when we embarked on this project, we had no idea what we were getting involved with. Looking back, it was such an experience and really well worth it.
It is true that projects and ventures have a life of their own, don't they?
They do. It's almost like it was almost like a different animal. Taming the beast.
The landscape and the structure of what you all had to work with was probably tougher than doing most motion pictures. You had it tougher because you had to deal with real-time nature and wildlife.
I would agree, 600 million fold. No, seriously, it was we weren't. It was one of those projects that was very ambitious, and at the end of it, we said, well, now we can kind of understand why, Disney films with animals are animated, because to do a real life kind of animation, which is what it really is, and follow this lion around for a full length feature, 90 minutes, and tell a adventurous story with this animal without the animal looking like it's a circus trained lion, because they weren't. These are just lions that I have relationships with. It was a hell of a task, a mammoth task, but I mean, at the end of the day, I think the results were completely astonishing to everyone, because people just are staggered by how the animals did what they did in the film, and that's where we had the passion, the patience, and the perseverance, and the commitment to see it through. Because I mean, we could have easily at year 2 say, you know what, this is killing us, let's just quit while we're ahead. But we managed to finish it.
Sometimes even when you want to quit, the Great Spirit doesn't let you.
Well, no, exactly.
You can't, even if you want to sometimes, because you're just carried away by the project. It takes you like on a wave.
Exactly. Too entrenched, absolutely. And, we owed it as well to the animals that had worked so hard on the film, and also the people. Everyone who contributed to the film contributed so much time and effort and energy. So we owed it to them to really, finish the dream.
I also was floored when I read in part of the Pride that in making this, you had done a lot of shooting, and there was a guy that was transferring tapes to the editing facility, and he got robbed. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. You got to share this with the audience. If you could have planned it or imagined it or concocted something, you would have never concocted this, and yet it happened. You've got to tell them.
Well, that was a movie on its own. We still got to make that movie. But it wasn't just any old footage. There was 3 components to the footage that was stolen, and there was about 32 tapes that were high definition tapes, and you can imagine what's on these 32 tapes. It was footage of aerial photography with the lions that had really been very difficult to do. It was behavior. One of our cameramen had spent months with the pride of lions, getting behavior that we needed to cut into the film, so that was stolen. And we also had some fantastic footage of our hero lion, our hero white lion, fighting this animatronic brown lion, this tawny lion, and that had all been stolen. So we had basically lost not just a lion walking camera left to camera right, which we could have repeated at any given day. It was really significant behavioral footage and aerial footage that we couldn't retrieve. But on the light side, it's funny how things work out, because when we eventually managed to get the insurance claim right and got to reshoot it all, we were so amazed at what we got in such a short space. And in actual fact, in some aspects, we improved on what we had beyond our wildest expectations. So, all's well that ends well.
It's amazing. By the way, if you ever want to find that footage, there's a way to find that footage that's as unorthodox as your way of communicating and working with animals called remote viewing. And the U.S. government spent $50 million on a project called Stargate to develop a protocol for locating data, transcending time and space. And I've interviewed 2 of the people from the Stargate project. But the nice thing is that you never have to spend a lot of time, energy, and money going through the traditional logistics of locating something. There's a way to do it that's much faster. So if you ever want to find those tapes, if you happen to want to get them, even though your film has already been released, do call the Rainmaking company.
Maybe I'll be in touch, just out of curiosity, just to know where they went.
And I'll be happy to put you in touch with the people that can take care of that for you. I know it sounds wild, but it's really true. That's what they do. And they also teach it. You were interviewed, was it by vets that you were going to be a veterinarian? Was it by the school, or was it by the actual veterinarians where you weren't answering their questions properly in a way that they wanted to hear?
Well, that was my interview for veterinary school at the university. So this was all the professors and deans at the faculty. And yes,